guild or people internationally that, could never take my class. So that kind of connection through online classes is really powerful for me. So that's what I love about it. As Craftsy has gotten bigger and bigger, it's gotten a little farther away from the consumer and the instructor. And I'm feeling that a little bit. And I feel like they're maybe trying to find their legs in the community and where they want to go. Mm-hmm. So I'm feeling that kind of along with them right now.
That's interesting. What's the difference in your relationship between, like, when I listened to your class online, it was really, I felt very connected to you. I could stop it. I could try it. I felt like you were kind of with me there as I was trying to do my work. But also, you don't know me. You would never know. I know you can do the note. I mean, you can do it. You can have comments and all that kind of stuff. But I'm curious what how do you see the relationship as similar or different to teaching an in-person class?
So in-person is always better.
Yeah.
So when I filmed those classes, I really made an effort to connect with the audience. In fact, one of the things that happened to me, because I'm a teacher, that's my training. Right. I'm used to looking people in the eye, and staring into a camera is really hard. My first producer drew a little face and a smiley face on a post-it and put it on the camera. Yeah. So I could have a face to look at.
Yeah.
Because staring into a blank hole is really difficult for a teacher.
Right.
And so through the questions, I'm on Craftsy every morning answering questions, and I try and, I want people to make quilts and quilt their quilts. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about supporting each other in the community.
Well, it's so funny because I was saying to someone, one of the people in the Quilting Army local, Judy, that I was going to be interviewing you. And she goes, "Oh, say hi. I'm in one of her classes." And she's like, "Oh, but she won't know me." But there was a sense of like, "Oh, I know her." Like, it was very interesting, this interesting sort of duality of like, I've been in her class and watching, and I feel like I know her. But of course, she's never really met me, but I feel that way. So I thought that was really interesting.
When I meet Craftsy students in person, I always ask them, have you ever asked a question? Because I would know them through their quilt, right, or their question.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's so funny, isn't it? Yep. It's interesting. There's an intimacy and a distance there. That's really interesting. All right. So I'm trying to understand the quilting industry. So can we kind of like go, if you're cool with sort of, what is your life like now? Like what do you do? What are you doing with your life? I'm not saying that like in a motherly way. Like, what are you doing with your life? But like, there's magazines. Oops. Oh, sorry. A kitten just came. That was a kitten catastrophe. Is like, how much are you publishing? How much is publishing important to you versus quilting versus classes? Like, how do you balance all of these things that are vying for your attention?
So it's not really vying for my attention. I look at it as diversification. Because I am a quilting professional. I run a business. And so I need to make an income. When I first started my quilting business, I had been, 2 years, and my husband came to me at tax time and said, "So honey, it's not a business if you don't make a profit."
Right.
And when I quit my job and started quilting full time, I really didn't have an idea of where this business would go. But what I've found over the years, I've found something I love and am passionate about. And so now I use it to, as my source of income.
Right.
And so I've had to write a business plan and figure out how I can bring in income to support myself and my family. And what I've learned is that, first of all, I'm a teacher by trade. And so teaching is my number one income source.
That's interesting.
By Craftsy, by traveling, by local, so I do a lot of teaching. Then I publish. I'm writing a set of patterns to be released soon. For me, it's all about diversification. And I've taken the parts of the quilting industry that I know I'm good at and that I have time for, and to try and make enough income to support myself and my family.
That makes sense. And how difficult is that to do? I mean, you've got a really strong brand, and I know there's others out there listening. Like, how hard it seems like people can make some money, but to be fully supported yourself on quilting is a challenge, and takes a lot of work.
It takes a lot of work. I mean, I had a young quilter come to me one day and she said, "So how do I become a famous quilter?"
You're like, step one.
So truly, I feel like that's the wrong goal.
Yeah.
Because I didn't set out, 7 years ago to become a famous quilter.
Yeah.
I found something that I really loved, and then I figured out how to monetize it and to be a professional.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to be a professional in the quilting industry because sometimes you're competing with hobbyists.
Yeah.
And you're also asked to do a whole lot of work for free, or for less than you are worth, in this industry. And I've worked really hard to set my standards and to act like a professional, and to also expect to be paid and treated like a professional in this industry. And that's meant turning down jobs or saying no to people who are not willing to pay you.
Yeah.
I just got the evaluations from my QuiltCon lecture back, and some of the feedback on that was that I mentioned my book too often. And I don't know if I did or not, but part of what I need to do as a professional is sell that book to make money and buy milk and, my family.
That's right.
So I'm not going to apologize for that.
What do you think the distinction is between a professional and a hobbyist?
It's making income.
Yeah, I mean, so I've been talking to a lot of people. It seems like it's the commitment, like the all in, I need to monetize it and it's for real. Like this is, we're doing all the things to make this a successful business. Would you say that it's not about the quality necessarily?
It's not about the quality, because there are some hobbyists that are fabulously talented and they work hard too.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's what it means to be a professional, but I think what you said, so I'm all in.
Yeah.
Is that I use this money to buy milk and groceries and take my dog to the vet. And, I don't have, if I don't make any money that month, there's nobody supplementing that.
Right.
So I'm all in.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference.
Yeah, I think that is too. How important is social media to your business and what you do as a quilter?
Oh boy, social media is a double-edged sword, man.
Yeah.
So I am a technology immigrant as opposed to a technology native.
Uh-huh.
My sons are technology natives.
Uh-huh. I like that.
So it doesn't come natural to me.
Uh-huh.
It's honestly really difficult for me. My sons give me advice all the time. I remember when Twitter started kind of getting hot and I didn't want to be on it. And my youngest son told me, he said, "So Mom, you're not supposed to read other people's tweets. They're supposed to read yours."
Very savvy.
I was like, oh. I think social media is important for me.
Uh-huh.
I probably don't use it as well as I should. I love Instagram because it's so visual.
Uh-huh.
I connect it to my Facebook automatically, but I really don't love Facebook. But there is a lot of the community that is out on Facebook.
Yeah.
So I could use it a whole lot better. I think the other edge of that sword is that social media is a massive time suck.
Yeah, it is.
And
it really is.
And I have limited time to create because I'm on the road teaching. And so when I'm in the studio, so I turn off my phone and there's no Facebook, no Instagram, no nothing, because that time is reserved for me and precious.
Yeah.
So it can, I mean, so I think it's important for my business, and I do try and use it and connect with people that way. But I will admit I'm not very good at it.
That's really interesting. Other revenues, if you don't mind, and you don't have to answer it, and we can also edit out anything you want. But so you've got classes and you've got books as revenue streams. What other sort of spaces does a professional quilt operate in terms of revenue?
So for me, it's primarily teaching and publishing. Both of my books have sold really well. And Craftsy has been a big part of my income as well. I don't know with the, purchase by NBC, whether that's going to continue or not. I don't know. But, I'm planning on honestly doing my own video teaching. So, I do private lessons, I do guilds and classes, and I mean, teaching is my primary.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
It's because who I am. It's my profession.
Yeah, right. Well, that makes sense. And I've seen your teaching on Craftsy, and I really like it. So you feel like you can do it, and you feel like you're empowered to do it, and that leads to other people feeling that way. And I feel like that's part of the whole thing. That's what I think in some way. That's when I look at sort of I think I look at Leah Day and Angela Walters and you, and these sort of, you're all the top people at the moment, right? That you all are super nice. And you're talking to people who are either beginners or intermediates, and you're saying it's going to be okay, and I'm going to show you how to do it, and it's not going to be scary. And I think that's really important, because there's so many out there that it does seem sort of intimidating, and you are looking for someone to help guide you. And it's really interesting to see that the similarity. What is a strong brand right now? And that seems like that's part of the branding at the moment. Do you agree? It's not arch, it's not arch. It's not cruel. It's not like make sure your points are perfect. That's just not what's happening,
And I think part of, for example, Angela, what makes Ange so successful, and I learned part of this from her, good people equals good business. And I mean, I truly believe that. And that is the philosophy where I try and run my business. The people who have lifted me up, I try and lift up others.
Yeah.
That is my business philosophy. And I also try to diversify. I have income streams from a whole lot of places.
Yeah.
In order to make my living as a quilter, because it's not easy.
No.
You can't do just one thing and make a living.
Now, how important are exhibits or shows or placing your work in shows? Was that important at the beginning, and do you still feel like that's an important component of your life, or have you sort of moved on from that?
No, I mean, so I'm not a competitive quilter. That is not who I am at all. But I want people to see my work. Mm-hmm. And so museums and exhibits, I mean, I want people to see my work. And I mean, I think that's important. Yeah. And so, but I'm not part of the competitive community. I'm just not interested in it.
Yeah.
But I, put my work in museums. I put my work in shows where I can exhibit just to exhibit. Mm-hmm. I think that's important.
Yeah.
I try and participate in lots of things where people can see work.
Yeah.
We have great quilts on the porch thing happening in Kansas City, and
so great.
I'm gonna hang my quilts all over the porch.
Right. That's so great. That's so great. I
want people to see work.
Yeah. Now, what about the kind of commercialization of quilting, like J.C. Penney's, or like having your quilts made in like mass produced? Is that something that like you do or want to do, or is it like against sort of your thought, that's another revenue stream. I don't know if people do that, but I'm curious sort of how you feel about that side of it, and then of course the swiping of it by you hear all the stories of people taking things they shouldn't take and all that.
That might be the bad side of that.
Yeah, right.
I mean, my studio mate had her quilt picked up by West Elm, I think it was West Elm, which it's a great way to get quilts out there.
Yeah.